thanks so much for tuning back into my channel, Riri Reviews. I'm Riri, and today I'm going to be reviewing MTV's new show, Pretty Little Mamas. And I'll start by saying I was supposed to have this video up for you guys yesterday. I just knew it was Labor Day. I had a day off. I didn't have any plans in particular. I shot the video with a new camera that I have, and I had all kinds of technical difficulties editing it and whatnot, so here we are. So, I wanted to review this show because it reminded me kind of like The Hills meets Teen Mom. So I thought we'd give it a go, at least for the first season. We'll see how the first season plays out, and if you guys like it, I'll keep reviewing it. If not, we'll toss it. So, like I said last week, still no snack review. Still doing the 30-day, the whole 30. I made a few small exceptions over the weekend, but for the most part, I'm sticking to it, you guys. So, if anything, why don't you guys drop down in the comments and let me know what you've been snacking on. And I'm sorry if I'm a little oily. It's like 11 degrees in California today, and I'm out in my office, and in order for you guys to hear me, I have to turn my AC off. So, bear with me. I promise I won't look too sweaty, but here we go. So the show is set in San Diego, which I love. San Diego is a really cool place. It's not too far from where I live. When me and my girlfriends want to get out of town and do kind of like a staycation, it's a cool place to go. They have like lots of bars. It's kind of like a Vegas meets Huntington Beach, I guess. It's a cool place. But anyways, the show is set there. And all the girls on the show got pregnant around the same time. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, did they have a pregnancy pact? Was this a Lifetime movie? Did I miss something? Because me and my friends were partying and having fun after high school. We were not trying to get pregnant. But, you know, they all got pregnant around the same time. And they all live as self-proclaimed in the rich part of San Diego. Like I said, I've been to San Diego a lot, but I didn't know that there were levels to San Diego, and apparently there are. The show opens with all the moms meeting in this girl, Nicole's backyard, which is she lives in a mansion with her parents, and all the girls kind of show up with their kids to have a play date, and they're all like, it was kind of unbelievable. They're all like in this girl's backyard with this huge pool, which looks better suited for a pool party or a day party. And they all have their kids, and she has a nanny on site, right? So the kids all hang out with the nanny while they all sit and gossip. So for them to be young moms, we know right away that their lives are not anything like that of a struggling single young mom. So that kind of sets the tone for the show. With the exception of Nikki, which don't get confused, there's a Nicole and there's a Nikki. So with the exception of Nikki, all of the girls have been friends since high school. They all kind of ran in the same clique, and we get an introduction of all the girls. So the first one that they start off with is Nikki. She's 23, and she's a daughter named Aliyah. She has a boyfriend named Ryan. Her and Ryan were not together when she got pregnant with Aliyah, but they are together now. She grew up in Singapore, also very rich, and moved to the U.S. for college. And shortly after moving here, she got pregnant. Her parents weren't too happy with it, but now she's making ends meet by modeling and being a YouTuber on the side. So then we move on to Cheyenne, who right off bat was one of my faves. She's 23, and she met her husband, Telly, and I believe she's the only girl on the show that's married. She met Telly in Hawaii. I don't know if she was there for college or vacationing. She didn't really say. But not long after she got there, she gets pregnant by him, and they end up getting married and having 2 kids. She lives in San Diego now with her husband in her father's house, and they don't have much money. I don't think she works because they didn't mention her working, but she did say that Telly is a valet, and just knowing California, that ain't going to pay the bills, especially if she's not working. So they're trying to get on their feet and get out of her dad's place. And then we move on to Nicole, Nicole gave me the impression that she's the Regina George of the girls. Like, she's the Regina, and everybody else is the Gretchen Wieners, and so on and so forth. She's in charge of all the girls. And she's 23, and she lives with her parents in that mansion with her 4.5-year-old daughter, Noelle. She's no longer with her daughter's father, and she stated that she kept her baby and didn't even think twice about keeping her because she's adopted, and her daughter is the only blood relative that she has. So I found that interesting. But Nicole also has a boyfriend of 2 months. His name is Michael, and he's a douchebag, but we'll get into that later on. And she has this like Kardashian-esque way of talking. She's like literally, you guys, he's my soulmate. Like, we are so perfect for each other, and I've already introduced him to Noelle. And her friends are like, oh, like I was thinking it, but they said it, and they were like, whoa, you already introduced your daughter to this guy. And she immediately fires back at the other girl, Nikki. And she's like, I'm not like you and Ryan. I don't need to wait a year. I know what I want. I don't need to wait. And her friends still caution her to slow down, but she doesn't. She throws shade at Nikki. And we'll see over time. She's got some beef with Nikki. I don't know if it's because Nikki's really pretty, because she is, and Nicole's just not that pretty. Nicole reminds me of the rich girl in high school that everybody was friends with because of what they could get out of her, but not necessarily because she was that cool of a person or anything like that, because she's kind of just a bitch. And like I said, she's the Regina George of the girls, so as rude and mean as she is, I'm not sure why all of these girls are such good friends with her. But then we move on to Alyssa. Alyssa is another one of my faves. She's 24, and she was another one who was not with her child's father when she got pregnant, but they did get together to try to make it work out for her baby, and it's worked out so far. They're engaged. She's in nursing school, and she's very close to her mom, who's in the past has been a lot of help for her, but isn't right now because her mom has brain cancer. So that's something she's dealing with. And while at Nicole's house, they all sit down and feed their kids Easy Mac. Like, you have a nanny there, I'm sure you could have gotten a personal chef. Whip those kids up something nutritious. Why are you giving them Easy Mac? But anyways, they all say that they were between the ages of 18 and 20 when they got pregnant. And again, I just think that's so crazy. There must have been some kind of a pact or something, because I just don't know why at 18 to 20 years old anybody would want to get pregnant. And it's a weird coincidence to me that they all got pregnant at once, but crazier things have happened, I guess. And Cheyenne, forgive me while I'm learning these girls' names, it's the first episode, but Cheyenne, she mentions to the girls that one of their old friends from back in the day, Chandlar, requested to follow her on Instagram. And all of the girls are like, what? Chandlar? Because the backstory on that is that Chandlar and Nicole had a falling out. And because Nicole's in charge, Regina George, because she's Regina, all the girls kind of followed suit after she stopped talking to Chandlar. So, they all start talking about how their friend Bree, who passed away, her 6-year anniversary of her death is coming up, and they traditionally all go to her gravesite and continue to pay their respects, and they're wondering if Chandlar's going to show up. And, they kind of mentioned that they were all best friends, and Bree and her mother were murdered. And I found that to be, I'm kind of, this might sound weird, but I'm always intrigued by murders and things of that nature. I listen to murder podcasts and things like that. So, with that said, I decided to do a little research, and what I found out is, unfortunately, Bree had a brother that was schizophrenic, and he went off of his meds one night and stabbed and killed his mom and his sister, Bree. And it was pretty gruesome. The neighbors said they could hear screaming. The cops found her naked on the walkway of the house. It was just a pretty gruesome murder, and I can't imagine at the age of 18, 19, dealing with the fact that one of my friends died in such a horrific way. So I found that really interesting. But basically, after her death, the group fell apart. And so the next scene cuts into Chandlar, the prodigal friend, and she's discussing with her mom how much she misses Bree and how she is going to go to the cemetery. But she basically also goes into the fact that she has no friends. After she stopped hanging out with those girls, it's just kind of been her and her daughter, who currently live on her mom's sofa. She's homeless. She has nowhere to live, and she's pregnant with someone else's baby. She's no longer with her daughter's father, but she looks like she's ready to pop with a baby boy by her current boyfriend, Aaron. And there's a scene with her and her boyfriend, and he looked high in the opening scene, And we do find out that he has an addiction to, she says pills, but I think he might have an issue with alcohol as well. And she admits that she chose her friend, or she chose Aaron over her friendships. She stated that Nicole, I guess Chandlar, when she first had her daughter, had postpartum. So Nicole suggested to her going to the gym and kind of working that out, which is where she met Aaron. But what I found interesting / shady is that Chandlar mentions that Nicole would show up to her home where her and Aaron lived when Chandlar wasn't home, and she wouldn't have her daughter with her, which, I mean, if we wanted to play the guessing game, kind of sounds like she was in the mood for some. But notice when Nicole was telling her version of why Nicole and her are no longer friends to the girls, in the earlier parts of the episode, she did not bring this theory up whatsoever. So I found that interesting. But the girls, they all get ready to go to the cemetery, and they show up there, and their friend Bree has a mausoleum. So they'll each take turns going up to the mausoleum and paying their respects to her, and all of a sudden, Chandlar walks up, and I didn't realize nobody knew she was pregnant. So not only does she walk up, and they haven't seen her in a while, but she's like out to here, pregnant. So she walks up, everyone does greet her, and they were cordial, which I could respect. I would hope that wouldn't be the time or place for anyone to be shady. But she goes up to the mausoleum, and she starts talking to Bree, in almost a way like she was confessing or confessing her sins, and also talking to the girls without talking to them. She's saying, I don't know what to do. I'm all alone. I have so many problems right now. And the girls, it was nice to see, despite their differences, they all kind of went up to her and put their arms around her and helped her in that moment. So I thought that was a good scene. Nicole and, the girls, except for Chandlar, they all go out for a drink afterwards. And Nicole kind of brings up again how she's not really fucking with Chandlar like that. Like she was, she felt a way, not a bad way, that she came to the gravesite, but she says that Aaron doesn't like her, and for as long as Chandlar is with Aaron, she will not be friends with her, which again, telltale signs of the fact that maybe you did try to fuck her man, and that's what you're really scared of. But, Cheyenne, she kind of states in her I can't remember if it was in her confessional or directly to the girls, but she feels bad, she feels bad about the fact that they're not friends with with Chandlar anymore. And, going back to high school and even like in my early 20s, I can think of times when I was hanging out with groups of girls, and there's always a girl that's like the Regina George of the group, or the girl that's kind of in charge, so to speak. And I've been in situations where one person decides not to like one girl in the group, and we all just kind of follow suit, or I didn't like a girl in the group, and I kind of, everybody else kind of decided because I didn't like them, they didn't like them either, so that person is outcasted, and, it fucking sucks. It's not a good feeling. I've been the girl that's been ostracized from a group before, and it's not a good feeling, especially when it's over a guy. So I'm hoping as the season progresses, we'll see that the girls either get back together and come to some kind of resolution where they can coexist, or just leave each other alone, altogether. But we end up going back to Nikki, not Nicole, Nikki, the girl from Singapore. She's looking for a place with her boyfriend and her mom, not for her mom to live with them, but for her and her boyfriend and their daughter. And, they're looking at this place, and almost immediately her mom's like, so, when are we going to start talking about marriage? When's the big day? And almost immediately right back, Ryan, her boyfriend, was like, yeah, we're not ready for all that. And, the weird thing is, I'm not sure that Nikki really wants to marry him. I think this is just something that her mom or her parents really want. But he shut that shit down real fast. He's not in a rush, so. The next scene is Chandlar out with her boyfriend shopping, Aaron, and he looks loaded. He totally looks like the lights are on and nobody's home. And she kind of goes into the fact that Aaron took off when he found out she was pregnant. And he's recently returned, and she's hoping that the birth of their son is going to change him. And I'm just like, girl, have you not ever watched Teen Mom, Teen Mom 2, Teen Mom OG, 16 and Pregnant, Unexpected? There are so many young and pregnant. There are so many young people pregnancy shows out there. The majority of those episodes are of guys that don't have their shit together and aren't ready to have a baby and don't act like they're ready to have a baby. And all these girls sitting and waiting for 9 months, hoping that they're going to get their shit together. And guess what? It never fucking happens. So I just hope that eventually she, loses hope of that, especially because this man has an addiction on top of everything else. She says that he's been to rehab 3 times and it hasn't helped yet. Sis, 3rd time's a charm. If it hasn't worked yet, he's not ready to get clean. Therefore, he's not ready to be a father, a boyfriend, or anything that has any kind of responsibilities. She discusses being a family with him, which, again, it was like beating a dead horse. Like, it's not going to happen anytime soon. So then we go to the next scene, and it's Nicole getting ready for a date with douchebag Michael. And she's talking about how basically dating while being a mommy isn't easy, and she strikes me as one of those girls who got pregnant young and can't wait to hurry up and find somebody to marry because she wants to piece together this cookie-cutter family that may or may not end up existing for her. So, we heard in previous parts of the episode that she's kind of a serial dater. She takes everybody seriously, and she thinks it's a miracle that she found someone. They met on a dating app, and Tinder to be exact. And we end up seeing them on their date, and I just wanted to fucking regurgitate my lunch. It was basically just them gushing over each other. Oh my god, babe, you complete me. Like, I've never imagined in 1,000 years that, like, I would find somebody like you. And he's like, no, babe, stop. Like, you don't understand how perfect you are for me. And I was just like, oh my god, like, stop the record. And then this idiot says, Michael, whoever I marry, the mother of my children, they have to be a certain way because they have to live up to the brand. And I was just like, what the fuck is it that you do? What brand do you have? You don't look familiar to me. I don't know. Do you own a business? Are you in marketing? I don't understand. Is the brand just being you? Because if so, sir, you need to do some work on that. Like, because nobody knows who you are, which means that your brand doesn't exist. So that was just wild and crazy. And then we see Chandlar meet up hastily with her mom. Like, it looks like her mom, like, did a drive-by pickup. And she gets in the car, she's out of breath, and her mom's like, what's going on? And she says that Aaron flipped out on her. Another telltale sign that he's a drug addict. He flipped out on her and started throwing all her stuff out. And one of the neighbors called the police. When the police got there, they were aware that he was intoxicated. But they told her to leave. And I was just like, boy, oh boy, if he was black or Latino or any other person of color, that would have gone totally different. But I digress. So soon after her mom picks her up, she gets a call. The other person on the other end of the phone sounded like a burnout himself. And he's like, hey, Chandlar, sorry, but, they just picked up Aaron for DUI. Sorry about that. Like, literally, almost, that's verbatim how the conversation went. So, she's pretty fucked up, Again, the man that she's about to have a baby by, he's fucking up. And he's in jail. This probably isn't his first DUI because somebody like him, you can just assume that they've had more than one issue, either for drugs, alcohol, or both. So it's really sad. She blames herself because she chose him, as she should, because you did choose him. Also, you chose to get pregnant by him. I understand everybody makes mistakes and things like that. But this day and age, like I said, it's 2018. We've seen so many of these shows. There are so many ways to prevent getting pregnant. And you chose not to, girls. So this is the bed that you now have to lie in. And her mom tells her, you need to let him go. You need to take care of your kids and forget about him and his problems. He needs to get himself help. So the girls, minus Chandlar, all decide they need to get out for a mom's night out because, momming while rich ain't easy. So they go to a girls' night out. Looks like they're probably in Gaslamp District or somewhere else in San Diego where there's a lot of bars and stuff. And Nicole makes this toast and she's like, yeah, mom's night out. We're badass bitches. And I just was like, oh God, like, Whew, okay, so Nicole says that she does want to plan a summer kickoff party, and Chandler's not invited. She's not there yet. She's not ready to invite her yet. But they all discuss their men situations, and as girls do, we get together and what else do we talk about? Our men or lack thereof, you know. So Nikki says that she's got to go to the bathroom. Immediately, as soon as the girl walks out, I don't even think she probably hit the threshold of the doorway yet. Nicole starts talking shit about her and her relationship, and I was just like, yeah, this girl's just a bitch. Like, we're only like 20 minutes into the episode, maybe 30 at this point, and we already see she's just pretty much a bitch. And even Cheyenne says in her confessional that, you know, Nicole gossips a lot, and it's kind of annoying. And, you know, I feel like in a group of girls, when a large group of girls that all hang out, there's always one girl that, you know, kind of talks shit about everybody else on the low. And in this case, it's Nicole. So, Cheyenne ain't here for it though. She's like, that's my friend, it's fucked up, and but she didn't say it to Nicole's face. So hopefully we get to a point in the season where Cheyenne gets her balls and she's like, yo, shut the fuck up. We're all friends. Either be for us or be against us, but we'll see. We go back to Chandler, and she's saying how she feels alone. And she meets up with Cheyenne at the park with her kid, and with the two kids. They both have two girls. And I thought that was cool because it was the first time either of their kids had met each other. And, you know, Chandler's just venting to Cheyenne about her relationship with Aaron. And she tells her all the drama. And she tells Cheyenne that the issue is that Aaron told her that Nicole tried to come on to her. And she says, she kind of tells Cheyenne, if my friends reject me and I can't be friends with my friends anymore, the only person I have left is Aaron. And that kind of made me think, like, well, no, you have your mom, you have your family. If she has, you know, a lot of family, I'm not sure. They haven't really gotten into that. But I hope she has family. There are a lot of girls out there that, you know, if they don't hang out with their friends or they don't have a boyfriend, they feel like they have no one. And a lot of times it's just not the case. It's just you choose to be addicted to that person. And in this case, you know, it seems to be a codependent relationship between Aaron and Chandler. She's as addicted to him as he is to drugs. And it's just really sad because it's not healthy, and she's pregnant, and you don't need that kind of added stress when you're pregnant. So, Nicole, we go on to the next scene, and Nicole has to move out of the big house, the mansion, for a little bit because it's being renovated to the pool house. And it's kind of a sore subject for her because she goes into the fact that when she first had her daughter, for the first couple years, she lived in the pool house with her daughter's father, who, from what she kind of said, she kind of implied that there may have been some physical and mental abuse, but more so mental abuse. And she broke up with him, and he's one of those dirtbags that pulled that whole, if I can't have you, then I'm not going to be a father to our kid. And that's what he did. He took off, and she has Alyssa there helping her clean out the pool house, and that's kind of all a filler scene. That's all that really was. So Chandler and Aaron, they meet up. He's out on bail, and she meets up with him for coffee. And honestly, he looks loaded in this scene. In fact, he looks more loaded in this scene than he does in any of the other scenes. And he says that he went to jail because there were meds in his car for anxiety because he has panic attacks. And it's just like, yeah, Aaron, sure you do, buddy. I mean, you know, okay. And she said, you know, she's just listening to him lie. I'm sure she listened to these same lies over and over. And she just kind of blurts out, I can't believe I gave up my relationship with Nicole for you. And he's like, she tried to fuck me. You want to see the text messages? I still got the text messages. Like, literally, he's out of his mind. His eyes are barely open. And then he's like, oh, wait, I don't have the text messages anymore. They're in another phone or some shit like that. Like, clearly blowing smoke up her ass, because that's what drug addicts do. They lie. So, his speech is slurred, and he's a mess, you know. We go on to the next scene, and here's the epic beach party. And everyone in the scene, to me, is wearing different variations of the same Forever 21 romper / sundress. Nikki, not Nicole, Nikki, the girl from Singapore, see, Nikki's boyfriend, Ryan, ended up babysitting for her, so she didn't have a date. So she ends up bringing 2 friends with her. Now, where I come from, if someone plans something and you're bringing +2, you need to let them know. So immediately I was like, did she let them know? But we quickly find out she did not let Nicole know. Because when she walks up with her 2 friends, Nicole's like, oh, hi, people, I didn't invite. Like, why didn't you tell me, Nikki, that you were bringing 2 friends? Like, she made a huge deal about it. And Nikki's like, I didn't think it would be a big deal. And she's like, well, I mean... And so Nikki's 2 friends are like, hey, forget about it. Let's all be friends. Let's drink and be happy. And Nicole's like, yeah, okay, let's all drink my alcohol. Like, just a bitch. Like, okay, yeah, she told you she didn't tell you. But, you know, a mature person could pull her to the side if you have to address it at that moment. Or after the fact, you're like, hey, really wasn't cool that you did that. Your friends were cool and everything. But next time, run it by me first. But, of course, you know, Nicole, like I said, she's kind of extra and she's a bitch. So she couldn't do that. So, Nikki, let's see. Nikki ends up calling these girls party crashers. And it's like, no, they didn't crash your party. Like, a party crasher is somebody someone who's totally uninvited, who nobody knows shows up. These girls were invited by Nikki. Was it a faux pas? Yes, but they didn't crash your party. Like, stop being so dramatic. And she calls them cheap. She says they look cheap. And I'm just like, bitch, they don't look any cheaper than anybody else in these Forever 21 outfits that you got. And like, I got nothing against Forever 21. I personally love Forever 21. But I didn't see anybody there in like Givenchy and Saint Laurent and, you know, Louis Vuitton. I just saw everybody in regular ass clothes. So I was just like, what makes these girls look any cheaper than your other guests? So I thought that was really bitchy. And then she's like, okay, well, there's oysters on ice, everybody. Everybody have an oyster. And I was just like, God, when I was 20, I wanted fucking chips and salsa and guac at a party. Like, I'm not 20 now and I don't want oysters. But, you know, to each his own. These girls are rich. So, you know, maybe I'm just low class. I don't know. But Michael, her boyfriend, walks in with his entourage. And homeboy has on a long Burberry coat. They said it's a summer kickoff. I would imagine it's pretty warm out there. Also, I mean, it's San Diego, it's a beach town, but it's summertime in California. Like, okay. He looks drunk or otherwise. Like, either he's drunk on pills or something else. But he definitely isn't himself. And, let's see. Nicole, one of her cheap friends, she says that she matched with him on Tinder, which I don't doubt. He looks like a douchebag. And his drunk ass ends up calling one of Nicole's friends fat. Like, they were talking about something. I can't remember what they were talking about. And he ends up calling this girl fat. So Nicole pulls him into a corner and literally mommies him. She's like, no, Michael, you need to apologize, Michael. Why did you do that, Michael? And I thought that was hilarious. And she's like, why are you embarrassing? You're embarrassing me, Michael. And Michael's like, it's because my grandma's sick. My grandma passed away. My grandma's sick. And it's just like, he's making shit up. He's drunk or high out of his mind. She's like, oh my God, no she didn't, Michael. And I'm just like, oh my God, this is the stupidest shit I've ever seen in my life. And she's like, you need to apologize to me, Michael. Apologize. And then one of Michael's burnout friends comes up and he's like, bro, apologize to her. You need to honor her, bro. She's like, yeah, Michael, you need to honor me. And I was just like, what the fuck am I what am I watching? Like, who says, yeah, bro, you need to honor her? Like, to me, that was hilarious. And, you know, he ends up saying, high five. Let's just chill. I'm sorry. Let's chill. And she's like, really? That's your apology, Michael? But her dumbass goes ahead and accepts it for the sake of keeping the peace. And, Nikki, after this all goes on, thinks it's a good idea to tell this girl that one of her friends, one of the cheap girls, matched with Michael on Tinder. And Cheyenne in her confessional is like, Nikki done fucked up. And I was thinking the same thing, like, girl, she's already mad at you. Now you're going to come and put her on blast in front of her boyfriend with your two friends that she doesn't fucking like. Like, timing is everything, Nikki. And your timing is fucking terrible. A bitch like me, I would have waited till she came at me with some bullshit and be like, that's why your man's still on Tinder. Yeah, he matched with my girlfriend. Why don't you ask him about that? But you know, I know how to read in a different way than these girls know how to read, clearly. And so Nikki kicks all the girls out. She calls, Nicole kicks Nikki and her two friends out, and she calls them 2-cent bitches. And Nikki's like, "Who's 2-cent bitches? Me or my friends? You can be mad at me, but don't be mad at my friends." And they start bopping back and forth, and that's kind of the end of the episode. I mean, I think really what the issue was that Nicole was more or less upset at this point because Nikki humiliated her, which of course she did. I mean, he told her in front of a whole party that her man's still on Tinder, who she's supposed to be in a serious relationship with. She's introducing this man to her child and everything. So, but like I said, that was basically the end of the episode. Let me know what you guys think of it so far. I think it was pretty good for a first episode. There was lots of drama. We got a lot of character foundation in it. So drop down in the comments. Let me know what you guys thought about the episode. Make sure that you hit that bell and subscribe so that you don't miss out on any reviews. And make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. I got more videos coming out tonight because I'm so behind. So I still have Love and Hip Hop. I have The Real Housewives of Orange County. And I have Married to Medicine coming out hopefully tonight. If nothing else, Married to Medicine is already done and should be out. So, like I said, have a good night, and I'll see you guys back for the next review.